welcome to the first episode of my podcast. My name is Vicky Kenworthy. I'm a pet portrait and wildlife artist based in the UK, and I'm the artist behind peakdistrictportraits.com. Today I wanted to talk to you about con artists and scammers. Now, all of my experiences, unfortunately, have been around one social media platform. Sorry, TikTok, that's you. Just to give you some context, I've always sold my art since my son was very little. That's what I elected to do to make myself some pennies so that I could stay at home and look after him. I've always loved art anyway, so it made sense. However, just recently, within the last 3 years, we moved to a house that would accommodate my child and also my husband's 3. In order to do that, I had to purchase something by myself due to his financial situation because of his ex, but we'll not go into that. Anyway, long story short, we've ended up with what one could say is a lot of a doer-upper. When we moved in, there was no gas, no electric. There were lollipop sticks stuck to the floor. I don't know what was in the freezers and the fridge down in the cellar, but it put all the other buyers off because it was horrendous. Anyway, we're slowly getting there. There's an awful lot still to do. I'm very thankful my dad is helping me, but it turns out my husband's absolutely useless at any form of renovations or DIY. I also have a full-time job. I work shifts. I have 3 dogs. He has a bad back, and then there's 4 children. So my art went onto the sidelines. So I've only just recently thought, no, I can't, I need to do my art. I'm going to continue. And so that's where the pet portrait business came from. So I've only just started on TikTok, and when I was met with messages about NFT, I was like, oh, could this be lucrative? Is this the way that I can come out of full-time employment? And I had a gentleman, for all intents and purposes, looked to be an artist, and he was the one asking, so that seemed quite genuine. I could see pictures of him at gallery openings and at an easel and painting, and I thought, oh. So I looked into it. And he was trying to tell me that I wouldn't have to pay to have it minted, I wouldn't have to pay anything. But then as he got further down the conversation, he was willing to let somebody who hadn't really placed much artwork online for the past 3 years, he was going to purchase the artwork from £1,000 upwards. And I'm like, are you though? So anyway, here's your first tip. This is your absolute friend. Google image search. So I took the profile picture on TikTok. I put it through the Google search. And turns out it is an artist, but that's not his TikTok. It turns out this is very much an artist. I think he was Spanish, I can't remember now. A very successful artist indeed. But his top TikTok had loads and loads and loads and loads of videos. And I very quickly realised that this wasn't the person that I was speaking to. So I sent this gentleman a message. Well, I say gentleman, it's probably quite loosely since he was trying to scam me. And said, but you're not the person that you're pretending to be. I've done a Google image search and this isn't this person. And he very quickly went away. That was it. His TikTok account closed down, gone. So always remember to do a Google image search if you're not sure if the TikTok account is genuine, because you'll very quickly work it out. The other thing I would advise you do, if this person is on TikTok, the likelihood is they're going to be on Instagram, they're going to be on X, they're going to be on Facebook. You should be able to find those things elsewhere. With a lot of the scammers, you don't. You might find the genuine person if they're pretending to be someone else, but if they are just a completely fictitious fake TikTok account with some random name, you are not going to find a Facebook or anything. Now, I'm sure there are artists out there that think NFT is the best thing since sliced bread. I don't know enough about it, but what I will advise is if somebody does approach you in regards to NFT, do your research first. Do your research on what NFT is, how it all works, what cost implications there are to you. Do you retain the copyright of your artwork? What happens to your artwork afterwards? Are you able to continue to reproduce prints, etc.? And then the next thing I would do is thoroughly research the person or people that have approached you in regards to the NFT, because if they're not genuine, you don't want to be working with them, even if the NFT is something that you're interested in. For me, I don't know enough about it. The second scammer I came across was quite a complex setup. It involved an artist on TikTok befriending me, placing lots of comments on my work, and then starting to message me. At first it was just what medium do you use, etc. And then it quickly progressed to where do you sell your artwork? Well, that's fine. These, normal artists have these conversations. So I explained that at the moment I'm selling it on Folksy and Etsy. But I have just got myself a Wix website, which has the e-commerce function. Just need to actually get all the pet portraits off my drawing board so that I can create some wildlife and things to go in the shop. And she came back and said that she sold her artwork through homeware. So curtains and cushions and mugs and all these other things. And she said it was much more lucrative than Etsy. She said, I'll tell you what, I'll put you in touch with my agent if you like. Brilliant. Okay, this is good. So got in touch with the agent. She said, please submit some images. Submitted some images. And I checked her Facebook profile in the meantime. It seemed very genuine. It was quite a lengthy Facebook, as in she'd been on there for many years. And all of the images seemed to pertain to assisting artists and the different places where it said she worked, which were all indeed to do with homeware. And so she went away and said she was going to make some inquiries and find me somewhere to sell my artwork. Brilliant. She came back about, 3 weeks later. In the meantime, the artist is still talking away to me on TikTok, asking how I'm getting on. And she sent me a link to this place where she said she'd been in touch with them and they were going to sell my artwork. So I clicked on the link, which took forever to load, which was the first red flag. The second thing I noticed was that the page didn't seem quite right. It looked to be a beautiful landing page, but none of the links worked. And there were indeed 3 artists down at the bottom. And the picture was there, the profile picture was there. The bio, however, seemed like it had been cut short, almost like you should click on it to expand it. That didn't work. So within a matter of minutes of taking down the names of the artists at the bottom and taking pictures of the artists, I realised that it very quickly turned to a page that was similar to Pickfair, whereby you would sell your artwork royalty-free to businesses or individuals. And I thought, well, that's a bit weird. So I then reached out to the artists that were on the bottom of this website. I back up. I googled the artists that were on this website, which came back with a site that looked almost identical but a completely different name, and everything on that website worked. All of the links, the bios were in full. They didn't need expanding, so clearly this had just been almost like a print screen. So I then reached out to one of the artists, and he confirmed that that wasn't where he was selling his artwork. It was indeed the one that I'd found. And he said he was going to contact his agent and did so. I then sent him all of the screenshots of the conversation and left it in his hands. I then went ahead and blocked both of these individuals and thought I'll park that for another day and either do a YouTube video or a podcast. So if you come across a similar setup, just make sure you do your research and make sure if you send a website to try and click on all the links. If it doesn't look right, feel free to reach out to some of the other artists that are on there, or send an email to the contact bit on the page, or anything else you can do to try and establish if it's genuine or it's not. So the most recent one was this week. I got back off holiday. I thought I'd best go through my TikTok. I like to respond to all of the comments. I think it's rude not to. So if I get time, I will sit down and do that. And I noticed there was one from a lady wanting to commission a pet portrait. She asked me to DM her, so I befriended her and then sent her a message. I sent her a message with the links to both the prices and the process of how I create the portraits and stay in touch with the customer, etc. And she came back and said she didn't understand them. Now, this lady was instantaneously messaging me, which is not unusual, but it was kind of unusual. People tend to have life outside of, commissioning a pet portrait, and therefore sometimes you might go a couple of hours or even a day before someone responds. So, but I didn't think too much of it. So I sent her the links and she said she couldn't understand them. I assumed this was because they weren't clickable links. And so I sent her my email address and asked her to send me the image that she wanted me to draw. Anyway, she then sent me a message with the picture attached, and I'm just going to read it out to you. Here's the picture of my pet. I need you to draw it and would love to have it drawn on the same pose as is on the picture. So it's a bit weird when someone refers to their dog as a pet, since normally this is my dog that I would like you to draw. So that was, sort of a semi-red flag. So I sent her the links then to the website, again with the prices and the process, and very quickly she came back and said she understood the whole process. She would like to go ahead with the 16 by 12, £250. When could I start? Now, the next paragraph is the bit that started to concern me. I'm asking because my PayPal account has been temporarily suspended. I've tried everything I can to reactivate it, but no luck so far. At the moment, I mostly use Skrill or Neteller. Now, I may have pronounced those very wrong, so don't come at me. For international payments. I'd love for you to begin the process, etc. So at this point, I said that I do accept bank transfers, but I'm assuming you're not based in the UK. And she very quickly came back and said, oh, okay, that's cool. Have you got the Skrill or Neteller account? So she's now pushing for me to set up one of these. So I looked into both of them, and both seemed genuine websites, and both had security measures. So I thought I will open a Neteller one because it's actually free to take international payments. There's no fee. So actually that works for me if my clients are comfortable using that in the future. But what I did do was I logged in with my personal email, and then I made my work email my primary one, because I thought, just in case she's trying to procure my login details, and I also let my phone create the password, which is like a week's worth long with gnomes in it and small elephants. And I went onto there and I had a quick look around and thought, I'm not going to attach a bank account or a card at this point, because she's telling me she's going to send me the deposit for this portrait. Anyway, very quickly, she sent me, which I can't find out, she sent me a screenshot of a Neteller £250 deposit from her account. Well, the first red flag was, hang on a minute, I've not asked you for £250. Why in your right mind would you pay in full for a portrait when I've not put pencil to paper? Surely you would want to pay the deposit, which secures your place in my calendar. And then once you're happy with the line work, then follow the process along, tweak anything before, I mean, I am obviously a genuine person, but I could have just taken that £250 and run. So I found that very odd. And I was starting to suspect now. So here's Mr. Friend again. I took a profile picture. I put it through Google image search. It turns out it was I think she's a social media person. I don't want to say the name just because it's not fair. That person's not done anything wrong. So I very quickly worked out this isn't the person that's on the profile picture, and I'm not talking to a genuine person. And I will admit, I then decided to sort of string her along. So basically, she sent me the screenshot, the £250 thing. It all looked genuine. I will be really honest. It had the copyright at the bottom. It had the right address. Everything seems clear as day on this screenshot. So, but obviously with the screenshot, you can't click anything, but it looked genuine. So I logged into the app, and there was no notification to say I'd received any money, and there was no money. So she sent me a thing saying, I just made the payment, you must have received a payment notification from Neteller. And so she then sent another one saying, sorry, do you check your mailbox or spam folder? I got a notification concerning the payment. So, but still nothing in my account. Maybe you could try opening a new PayPal account. Maybe it's an issue with the seller. But didn't you get a notification from the seller concerning the payment? You should check your email box or spam folder. So I put, no, there aren't any notifications via the app. She then put, I'm not talking about the app. I mean, you should check your mailbox or spam folder. I get a notification concerning the payment via email as well, and that's why I'm surprised you've not been notified. So, but as with bank accounts, I don't trust emails. The app has not shown any transfer of money and no notifications, so the email in my inbox didn't originate from the seller. She put, I got a notification from the seller also. The money can't be credited into your account at this time. That your account has a limit. They mentioned that I have to send an additional £250 to upgrade your account limit to business account. I actually have no problem doing this as long as you refund me once started, so I'm going to try and be sure you get notified as well. Right. The slight issue with that is I don't have a credit limit that's below £250 on my Neteller account. So I did respond and I put, okay, so let's be honest, the profile picture on your TikTok is that of someone called online. As I Googled image searched it, as your email seemed questionable. My account limit is £428.25, which is obviously greater than £250, so there's no issue there. The email provided is the primary one for receiving money, but not the one that receives notifications, so I know the email is fake. Notifications in regards to money are never solely sent to you an email. You can always obtain them through the app. There is nothing there. You are very eager to send £250 as opposed to sending the 25% deposit. I've never known anyone so eager. Have a fantastic weekend, but I shan't be falling for a scam and will ensure to try and prevent as many artists as possible from falling for it too. Small business owners struggle enough. Cute dog, whoever it is. So the take home from that for me is, if you suspect something, do a Google image search on the person, look to see if you can find a Facebook account, etc., etc. Now, the other thing you can do is, obviously, she did send an email to my business email, which was the one that was incorrect. It was the primary email. But when you utilize the drop down box at the side of the email address, even though it said Neteller something or other, they look genuine. But if you click on it on Google, it will actually open. And whilst it did have Neteller in the email address, it was at gmail.com. Businesses tend to have, like mine is set up, Vicky at peakdistrictportraits.com. They don't use Gmail. They don't use AOL. If it's a small business owner, yes, absolutely. You know, mine just happened to be with the package on Wix. But large businesses like PayPal and your bank won't have at Gmail or at AOL or anything else. It's a large business. They don't want people hacking into their accounts, and they want it to look professional. So that's your first flag. The second one is the same as your bank account, which I'm sure you all know. If you have the app, or even if you're logging into the website page, if you have received money, you will have the same notification there. It's very rare that banks and other places send emails anyway. So don't ever click on anything on an email. Go straight to the app, go straight to the website, log in and check there. If there is nothing there, that email is fake. So the take home is Google image search is absolutely your friend. Always be very cautious, but remain polite. It could be a potential customer. You don't want to turn them away, but you do really need to keep your wits about you. You can normally tell from the conversations that this person isn't really interested in whatever it might be. They are literally trying to get to the end goal. And PayPal, Neteller, Skrill, whatever, make sure that you're comfortable with whomever you are using. Make sure your password is, well, ideally created by your phone, or some other thing that will give you a week-long password with every symbol going. And where possible, if you have more than one email address, try and use different emails. Particularly if, for example, your personal email has your name in it, or any numbers pertaining to your date of birth, or the house number, or your kids' date of birth, or anything else like that, try not to use those. If anybody else has had any similar experiences, then let me know. And if anybody has any other things that they think might make a worthwhile podcast, then also let me know. And until next time, toodle pip and goodbye.